Hi everybody, welcome to Coffee with the Kuhlmans. I'm Jessie.
I'm JC.
I'm drinking coffee, she's drinking tea right now, but
Bedtime tea.
I probably should not be drinking coffee right now, but it's fine. So welcome, this is our first episode. We're figuring out a lot of details with a lot of different things right now, but we were like, we're just gonna start, and we want to get the word out there of kind of why we're doing this, why we have this podcast, and we'll figure it out from there. So, to start, JC, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Where do I begin? We're going back to like when I was a little baby.
No,
okay.
No. We don't tell short stories. So
short story long.
Tell them like what you're doing for work right now,
okay.
And then like about hockey and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. So I went to Endicott College in Beverly, Massachusetts. Go Gulls. I got my bachelor's in exercise science. I also played hockey there. Then once I graduated...
Ice hockey, by the way. If you don't know us, ice hockey.
Ice hockey, yes. Once I graduated, I was offered a GA position. Offered a GA position.
It's very serious.
Working in strength conditioning at Endicott. So I got to work with all the athletes there, which was a really cool experience while also getting my master's degree. And then from there, I worked as a GA for 1 year, then moved to full-time the year after that, and then almost like exactly a year ago, I moved to Florida. You're looking at your watch?
Yeah, because
yeah, a year ago.
Because I'm looking at the date, it's the 1st, and you moved in March, didn't you?
March 3rd?
Yeah.
Actually, March 3rd, so we're coming right up.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. She probably got a job a year later.
Year later, you guys. Yeah, new job.
Yeah, so I guess my way from Boston or Beverly to Florida, I stopped in. This is not really relevant at all, but I guess now that we're on the topic.
Okay. When we run out of battery, you guys know why.
Okay, so broke down the trip basically. Beverly, Maryland, where we're from, Tennessee for 2 weeks. That was fun. Went to Mayhem.
Cause of Mayhem.
Yep. Thank you. Then I drove from Tennessee to Florida. And it's been a journey, let me tell you, the past year. But it's been really great.
Yeah.
And I just actually accepted a job working at Pinecrest. It's a prep school in Fort Lauderdale as a performance training coach. So I'll be working with the athletes there. Super excited. I start March 10th. So I'm really excited to just get back into the atmosphere working with athletes.
Yeah, you really like doing that.
Yeah.
And you're really good at it, so.
Thanks. Yeah.
You were at Orange Theory.
I was at Orange Theory.
You enjoyed it.
And that was a really good experience.
Yeah.
I really like the members, the coaches there. It's a different type of coaching, and it was kind of cool to see a different side of coaching. And I think I'm going to continue on there, mainly like in the summers, coaching on the weekends occasionally, and then holidays. Just because I feel
like... What an schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be coaching
holidays.
These
summers.
I include details that are just not important.
They might be for some people.
I mean, if you're curious.
If you really want to know, guys, we'll tell you.
Yeah. Basically, full-time job at Pinecrest.
Yep.
Orange Theory. Weekends and holidays.
Yeah.
Yes. Summers.
But I think something to mention that's important is like something about Orange Theory is like there's programming that is done across the board for every single gym. And part of what you love so much about your job is like that you get to program. And like there's a science behind that. And that's a very rewarding thing, but also it's like you learn so much more when you get to be a part of the programming.
Totally.
Rather than just like being told what to like lead a class through, actually getting to like coach people through it.
Yeah. There's like a special craft to programming, and I definitely miss that aspect of it. And then you kind of can see it come to life when you're working with athletes, or maybe you're working with an athletic trainer to rehab an athlete back to play on the field. And it's just like a really cool experience to kind of see the flip side of what you do turn into like this athlete who is confident on the field and they go score their goal or whatever.
Whatever. That's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is actually a big deal. Yeah.
So JC,
take it away.
JC is killing it now. We officially moved in together, I would say, just over a year ago now. But we recently switched apartments. Yeah. It has been a very tough journey, but it's been really good to have each other just to support in a lot of different ways and just like help out with a lot of different stuff. And definitely a lot of learning for the best, though.
So much character building.
The
past 2 years.
Yeah.
The past year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we really couldn't live apart from each other. Like, it was really hard when we were apart from each other.
Jesse left Massachusetts, and I was like, okay, hang tight. Yeah. I'll come see you in a year.
So I guess that kind of brings me to my point of when I got down to Florida, I went to school, I went to Merrimack College, played ice hockey there, studied business because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was always interested in fitness, but to be honest, I didn't think that I was like smart enough to take any of those classes, and I felt like my degree was hockey because it was so much time at the rink and training. But yeah, that was when we found CrossFit when I was like getting ready to go play hockey my first year, and we like trained really
hard. I didn't even talk about CrossFit.
Yeah, we trained really hard together. Yeah, obviously we both do CrossFit. But yeah, so then after college, I actually graduated early and I got my master's in management, and then COVID happened, so then I moved back home, and then eventually I got a job out in Massachusetts working at a gym, and just kind of like bounced around a lot of different gyms there, which I'm so grateful for, because each of them was like a piece of a puzzle. Then I started working at this one gym in Andover, which was funny because that was like where Merrimack was, and I met somebody who connected me with Grid. I started doing Grid, which is like, if you don't know what it is, it's like, I always say CrossFit on steroids, but like I'm not on steroids, but it's like the sport of itself is like, it's like CrossFit on steroids. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's just like CrossFit times 100. Like, everything's fast, everything's heavy, everything's the top end skill.
Yeah.
And the joke was that I was going to move to Florida. Long story short, I ended up moving to Florida. Alex Ruggieri offered me a job at CrossFit Point Beach at the time, which is now Black Sheep CrossFit. He was one of the coaches on the Grid team. And yeah, I moved 2 years ago. Feels like 5 years ago, honestly. But it has been a wild, wild ride. And it's been really cool to see the phases that the gym has gone through within the last few years. And just be part of like such a special community. But yeah, eventually it was like to Jason, I was like, please come here. Like, you will not regret it. Like, the community is just something that you'll never experience anywhere else.
Yeah, I would visit all the time.
She did visit a lot. Yeah. So now we're here, and we are currently studying to get our precision nutrition. We both have backgrounds in like fitness. Like, what degree do you have? Your CS?
Bachelor's in Exercise Science and CSCS, so Certified Strength Conditioning Specialist.
Yeah. And then I'm a CrossFit Level 2 trainer, and then also a personal trainer. I also love coaching gymnastics. That's like one of my favorite things ever. And then, I think I said personal training already.
Yeah, you said personal training.
Yeah. So we have this like knowledge from the community that we see, and when we were studying to get our nutrition cert, we were like, who are the people that we want to help, and why do we want to help them? And that was when we kind of came across the idea of like, hey, we should do a podcast and talk about some experiences as athletes and who we want to help and why we want to make this podcast. And we started talking about like the struggles that we went through, and I think and you can obviously comment on this as much as you want, but I think something that might have been helpful for you was like, I had been through 3 years of college hockey, so like when you came in as a freshman, you could talk to me about like everything that you were going through, and I could see from a senior perspective what you were going through and the different like things. And then on top of it, after college ended, the identity crisis.
Oh, every time.
And that's the main thing that we want to talk about is like the identity crisis that happens when your sport comes to an end, whether it's an injury, whether it's after high school, whether it's you get cut. Like, there's a lot of different, like, you quit, there's, especially for women, there's a lot of different things. And then on top of it, like, growing up playing boys hockey all the time, dealing with that, and, like, what that was like. So there's just a lot of different things that I think we were like, we really want to talk about this and just, like, have a space that people can ask us questions. We're not saying we know everything, but...
No, we're still figuring it out.
Definitely do not know everything. There's a lot we don't know. But we've experienced it, and, like, experience teaches you a lot. And I think... I don't know. I just feel like we have a lot that we can talk about and just share with people. And, yeah.
I think it's always kind of a shock when, like, the best athletes from your high school, like you're a senior, you're the best on the team, then you go to college, you're kind of at the bottom again, most cases.
You're literally starting over.
You're starting over.
But there's so much politics involved.
You're starting over, and
everyone's the best.
There's no guarantee, no matter if you, like, work hard or not.
Yeah.
You can't
It doesn't matter.
You have to continue to work hard, and you can't expect anything.
Literally nothing.
You
might not even dress. We've been in for a lot of games.
Each year got a little bit better for me, but it was kind of, I wouldn't change a thing, but freshman year just didn't see a lot of playing time. Are you okay?
I'm just agreeing with you.
There's kind of just a lot of learning that goes along with it, and I wouldn't change a thing because senior year I was playing a lot more and seeing a lot more ice time, and that was so special to me because I knew where I was as a freshman, kind of like crawling my way to the top, and it was just a very rewarding feeling when we had won a championship every single year, except for
they were good.
Except for junior year because that was COVID year. But we won all 6 games.
Yeah, all 6.
And then once college ended, it kind of like Jesse said, it's.
I think I even tried to warn you. I think I tried to warn you, and I was like, bro, you have no idea what is coming.
And there's no. I think the warning kind of helped, but there's really no way to prepare for it because you're used to having a schedule your entire life growing up.
And every decision you make is based on that sport.
Yeah, and someone is telling you what to do all the time, and you don't realize it until after college when you have decisions that can be made, and there's so many open doors in most cases, I would say, which is a great opportunity. It's a good problem to have, but it can also be, like, really overwhelming because it's your life, you get what you put in.
And I think so much of our life was always like, because like the team was there, or like something to do with hockey, it was always like you knew what decision to make because hockey was always there to help you make the decision. And then all of a sudden you like get your life back and you're like, so I can just move like anywhere in the country or like world. Like I can go, like, it's wild how much, like you said, the open doors that come your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's when you said that, like, you're talking about your senior year versus my senior year, I didn't play in my last 2 games. I sat on the bench, and I was supposed to go out on the ice, and there was a penalty, so I didn't get to go.
Dang it.
But it's like leaving that way and knowing I like gave everything I could into the sport almost made it so hard for me to like find the love again that like it's however many years later, I don't want to age myself. But I'm like just now like finding my joy in the sport again, and that also freshman year it's like a slap in the face because it's like the sport that like used to provide happiness and joy is like is no longer there.
Into a job.
And that was really where like my faith kind of came in, and I was like, wow, I really need to lean on my faith more and not this sport to make me happy, because come the weekend or not, like I might not be playing. And if I'm not playing, what does that mean? Like, who am I? Am I a failure? Like,
yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of inconsistency that comes with that, and
so it's
like being scratched or not. Like,
it's a mind game.
Yeah, you could have your best game ever and then not play the next game.
Yeah.
So it can be very easy to spiral.
Yeah.
But I think that's when you kind of just take a step back, think of one or two things that you can fix and work on, and go to your coach, be like, hey, can we do, I'm getting so specific now, but like, hey, can we do
skill
session? That is going to go a long way, not for you to be like, hey, coach, I did this, so I should be playing. It's more of like, you're making yourself better, getting 1% better.
1% better. Shout out LSKD.
By just like not giving up and continuing to give yourself chances and opportunities to prove yourself.
And I think one of the like ways that I framed my mindset around it was I almost didn't get the opportunity to play Division I, so it was like I wanted to be grateful for every single moment, and I was like, I'm going to take advantage of every single thing I can, which ended up me overtraining. We'll talk about that in another episode. But I became obsessed with this idea of like, I want to become the best hockey player that I could be, because for the first time in my life, I'm in an environment that is supportive of that.
Yeah.
And so that was why I wanted to do skill sessions. That's why I wanted to do film. Like, I was like, I want to become the best player that I possibly can, the best athlete, the strongest athlete, the fittest athlete, like all the things that I can control. I want to be the best teammate. I want to be the best, like all the things that I physically and like mentally and emotionally had control over. That was kind of what I had to frame my game around instead of stats. Because when you only play so much, your stats will not show your progress at all. And I look at myself freshman year and senior year, it's a completely different person to like now when I'm like messing around playing roller hockey with guys, and they're like, whoa, how'd you get like good? I'm like, I dedicated my whole life to this, to sit on the bench at college.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a interesting thing that you say in general is like focusing on the things that you can control. Like you can't control when your coach is going to put you on the ice, but you can control how you react and how good of a teammate you are and how supportive you are and the things that you're doing on the ice and off the ice. And that just goes for everything in life, which I think kind of leads into post-college.
Yep.
You're kind of figuring out your footing in real life, and I always said I wanted like push real life off as much as I could, so accepting that GA position was kind of like dipping my toe in the water of, you know, just more responsibilities, but also like having more flexibility in my schedule, but almost putting like more structure in it, because I think all athletes can relate that they do better when you have to like manage your time down to the T, because it's one thing after another, and I'll like, if I have more time in a day, I'll procrastinate and wait till the last minute.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that a lot of athletes put off right away is you go from training and working so hard every single day to now nobody's telling you that you have to do that. You don't have to. Like, I will never forget that, like the whistle, like the final whistle, the final buzzer, and the amount of pressure that just like came off my shoulders. I felt like I could breathe for the first time, and I was like, it's over. Like, it's done. And it's like the weirdest feeling, because you're like empty, but like so relieved at the same time that you've never, it's a feeling that you have never felt before. And at the same time, you're just like bawling your eyes out, because a part of you is just like, is gone. And a chapter of your life is just like different. And then it's stepping into finding that rhythm again in your new reality and learning how to train for life, not just train to, check people into the walls all the time and like score goals. It's how can I transition out of this and like take what I learned here about being a good teammate. Well, how can I be a good teammate when I'm at work? What can I do at my job to be a good coworker, to be a good leader? What can I do like to serve other people around me? And just like, even when you're like having a bad day, I don't know, I just feel like there were so many lessons that you could just take with you. But I think we both agreed it was sad the first few years. You see so many of your teammates like fall out of who they were, and like they're not working out, they're not eating properly because they don't know how to work out like for life.
Yeah.
And I think I told a lot of my teammates, I said, join a CrossFit gym. I said, go to church and join a CrossFit gym. That's like the two best things you can do. Like take care of your soul, take care of your body, and a CrossFit gym is just such a big community that has access to all these things like nutrition, a community, because you lose your team. You don't have people to work out with anymore.
Yeah. I feel like it's just not the same when you go into like a regular. I've never really belonged to a regular gym,
Doesn't
but
go well.
I feel like you don't get as much of a almost like dopamine rush because it's so. Some people may like.
It's kind of depressing.
Some people may like the kind of like keep the headphones in, be quiet, like get your work done, but the reason I fell in love with CrossFit so much is mainly because of like the people that I've met and just like the memories that I make in the gym. I obviously like I really love the training side of it, but I don't think I would genuinely enjoy that as much if it wasn't for like the community and the culture and the people around it. Because like we always talk about how we specifically like black sheep training because it's involving the community and it's rare for athletes that have their own programming to also do class, but we get to jump into class and it makes the entire environment more competitive.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just like bonded more.
Yeah. There's not like levels, it's like there's more respect for like each other, because it's like there's some days that like some members literally smoke me on a workout. It's so funny.
Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to see like where the depth is in each like type of fitness.
Yeah. Our gym is just so special, and that's like my thing. Like what you said, that's like one of my favorite parts about it. So, anyways, we jumped around about a lot of different things, but
random.
That's kind of just an idea of like what you guys can expect. We're gonna go through like different series of like, obviously there's a recruiting process. I have a very wild recruiting story. I don't really remember much about your recruiting, I'll be honest. But you were so lucky because I literally handed contacts to her.
Yeah. I just like reached out to a lot of coaches. It kind of was.
I had to decommit.
It was like the norm, I would say. I just remember going on a lot of school visits, so that way I had excused absences for school, because I'd always miss Thursday and Friday. I would miss a lot.
We barely graduated high school.
Okay, don't say that. Well,
we did.
Well,
because of our absences from hockey.
Yeah.
They literally tried to like not let me graduate because of how many absences I had from hockey.
Yeah, they didn't really support that.
Which was really frustrating.
Actually it was homeschooled for a semester.
I forgot about
that.
Yeah. So recruiting, stuff like throughout college and just like the different things that we went through with that, playing time, parents, coaches, relationship with your coaches, relationships with your teammates that you don't get along with, teammates that you do get along with.
Nutrition.
How to eat properly, because a lot of times, no offense to this when I say this, but your strength and conditioning coach a lot of times is your nutrition person, and they don't always have all the knowledge that they should to provide for you, so sometimes that can be a little iffy. Like, I was eating peanut butter bagels in between games, which is, like, insane that I was having fat in the middle of a game, but whatever. I know that doesn't make sense to you guys, but that's crazy for me. What else? And then, obviously, the identity crisis, which is what we're going to probably talk about
most. And
next.
we'll talk about CrossFit a little. It'll come up.
Yeah.
because you know the saying is you'll know a CrossFitter once you.
Oh my arms.
What is the saying? CrossFitters. People
You'll
say
know.
people say that CrossFitters talk about CrossFit a lot.
We do. So anyway, that being said, if you guys have anything specific that you want us to talk about, comment it below. We will eventually get to a point where hopefully we'll have like people on here that are experts in an industry. But yeah, as of right now, this is what we got. We're gonna keep things very simple, very real and raw. And don't be afraid to ask questions because we just want to be what we needed when we were there. So that's what we want to be for you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Like, comment, subscribe. That's all.
Yeah. That is all. Thanks, guys.
Peace.